It's official, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time ever in the history of America, we've surpassed $1 trillion in interest payment on the current debt that we owe. ZeroHedge.com. U.S. federal debt rose above $33 trillion for the first time to spike by another $600 billion. This is about a month ago. Now we're at total U.S. debt, $33.649 trillion, up $58 billion in one day, and up $604 billion in 1 month. Up $20 billion every day, and up $833 million every hour. At this rate, U.S. debt will be $41 trillion in 1 year. For those keeping tabs, the U.S. added $1 trillion in debt in the last 3 months, which is bringing the total to $33.6 trillion more than the combined GDPs of China, Japan, Germany, and India. And just to show you how terrifying it is about to get for a lot of people, Bank of America's Michael Hartnett notes that the CBO projects that U.S. government debt will rise by $20 trillion in the next 10 years, or $5.2 billion every day, or $218 million every hour. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if you continue to trust in these politicians and not trust in God, you're crazy. You're blind. And you've got nobody to blame but yourself. If you continue to trust in all these people, if you think you're going to vote your way out of this, you're insane. You're nuts. All I got to do is look at Proverbs chapter 13, verse 7. It says, "One man pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, and yet has great wealth." I know a lot of people that watch my videos live in America. And I have to say, America is pretending to be rich, yet has nothing. They've sold you out. They've sold me out. They've sold us all out. When a lot of other places I've traveled to, they may look poor, but yet they take care of themselves. They have great wealth. They come across as poor. They're conservative with their budgets. They allocate their money to certain things. I remember when I went to Russia, and the subway system was absolutely immaculate. It was like a museum. Chandeliers, amazing sculptures, not a piece of trash on the subway, no graffiti anywhere. Same thing when I went to Ukraine, when I was in Kiev, as corrupt as they are. It was immaculate. The people took pride in how they dressed. There was no graffiti anywhere. It was just absolutely beautiful. And that's supposed to be the most corrupt country, or one of the most corrupt countries in the world. But yet America, we're surpassing $1 trillion just in interest on the debt that we're paying to the people that we owe debt to. Countries, people, so on and so forth. And with the fact that they've risen rates, and the fact that a lot of the rates that people are in, they have not caught up with where rates are, and they will get to that point over the coming months and coming years. And that means that the debt that we pay, the interest on that debt, will continue to increase, and your lives will continue to suffer. So I encourage you, prepare accordingly. None of these politicians are going to save any of you. I don't want to get political, but my point is that I'm trying to drive home with this message, is that America is pretending to be rich, but yet they have nothing. It's all going to come crashing down. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I encourage you, turn to God, repent, turn to the truth, turn to the gospel, turn to what really matters, turn to what's going to matter with eternity, and not these lying politicians that have been deceiving you your entire life. Yahoo News. Democrat Danica Roem was elected Tuesday to become Virginia's first openly transgender state senator. With just over 51% of the vote, the 39-year-old defeated former Fairfax County Police Detective Bill Wolf, a conservative who was endorsed by Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. Wolf had promised to ban transgender athletes from participating in school sports if he was elected. Rome's election makes her the first openly transgender state senator in the South and the second in the country. I think there's another one, might be in Minnesota. In 2020, Delaware's Sarah McBride became the first out trans person elected to a state senate. Isaiah chapter 60, verse 12. For the nation or kingdom that will not serve you will perish. It will be utterly ruined. Collapse is imminent, people. Collapse is imminent. Again, I don't know how, I don't know when, but all the signs are before you. All the signs are staring you right in the face. If you don't see the danger that's staring you in the face, then you're blind or you're completely dumb. And I'm not sorry to say this. I'm sick and tired of seeing the American people make stupid decision after stupid decision, and they only have themselves to blame. They keep electing these people, and they keep making these dumb decisions, and that they wonder the state of the country, and they wonder where things are at. And again, I say this because most of the people that watch these videos, because the data is clear that most of the people that watch these videos live in the United States of America. Yahoo News. U.S. credit card debt reaches $1.08 trillion via the New York Fed. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York's household debt and credit reports show Americans owe approximately $1.08 trillion in credit card debt. This represents a $154 billion year-over-year increase, the largest annual jump since 1999, when the market collapsed. I remember that. The report also found rising delinquencies across age groups, specifically among millennials aged 30 to 39. You know, you've got to learn to have self-preservation. You've got to learn to control your spending. You've got to learn how to live when things are going well. Be content to live when things are going well. And you've got to learn to be content when things are not going so well. And you've got to prepare for tough times. When things are good, you know tough times are going to come, and you've got to prepare accordingly. Philippians chapter 4, verses 12 to 13. This is Paul writing to the Philippian church. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry. And it's funny for me, recently I've taken up fasting a lot, and a lot of times I've been hungry, but I know how I've been able to overcome the appetite, the hunger that I have at some points when I'm fasting. And I'm not trying to say this to show off or anything. This is just something I decided to do just for my overall health, because I think it's healthy for me to honor God, and also to help me with my relationship with God, to not be addicted to food. So I think a lot of times when I'm eating, when I'm doing things, it's the addiction to the food. And a lot of times when I'm hungry, it's not the fact that my body needs food, it's the fact that I am addicted to the food, I'm addicted to eating. Even though I'm in phenomenal shape for my age, and I'm in phenomenal shape, period. I'm in the top percentile for overall physical fitness in all spectrums. I'm not bragging, but it's the truth. I take care of myself. But, you know, I've learned the secret to be content, whether I am well-fed or I'm hungry. And yeah, it gets to a certain point where you're starving and your body needs nutrients and you need to listen to your body. But Paul, what he's saying here is that he's learned the secret of being content in every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Verse 13, I can do everything through him who gives me strength. You've got to learn to have self-preservation. All these people with this credit card debt that thought that everything was going to continue on and the charade was going to go on and everything was going to be great. The fun times were going to continue. But the fun times have not continued for a lot of people. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there with money. They're smart. And they have incomes coming in from various things. But don't think just because these people have money now, they're always going to have money. They're going to face tough times. They're going to have self-preservation too. And they're going to have self-preservation in their own way. You got to have discipline. You've got to learn and know what it's like, and learn and know how to be able to behave when things are good and when things are bad. All these people with this credit card debt, they're just swiping the card, thinking that, yeah, I'll pay it off later on. But as trouble comes, as the bills mount, as difficult times come, maybe they lost their job, maybe their car had a problem with their engine, maybe they had a big bill, or they have a problem with their kid in school. God knows what. It could be health problems. That's why it's important to take care of yourself. You're going to have personal responsibility. But I encourage you to learn the secret of being content in any and every situation, so that you don't run into this problem that people are facing with debt, with credit cards, and so on and so forth. CNN Business. This is the least affordable housing market since 1984, and it's getting worse. It said the last time America's housing market was this unaffordable, Ronald Reagan was in the White House, a long time ago. It now takes nearly 41% of the median household's monthly income to cover the principal and interest payments on the median priced home. That's not even counting insurance. That's not even counting car payments. That's not even counting credit card payments. That's not even counting food. 41%. Now, this is according to research from Intercontinental Exchange. I have no idea who they are, but I believe these numbers. It comes at a time of uncomfortably high prices for about with the worst inflation in a generation. Housing is eating up a bigger portion of paychecks as gas, groceries, and other loan prices are sky high. Housing now takes up the biggest chunk of paychecks since 1984. Question I ask you. Do you want to build or buy your house on sand? Or do you want to buy or build your house and do so on firm foundation, on rock? Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 to 27. Jesus says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash." You know, a lot of people are experiencing a great crash. A lot of people built their house on sand. Are you going to build your house on rock? Or are you going to continue to build your house or buy your house on sand? All these people that are in tough situations financially, they can't buy a house, struggling with credit card debt, can't buy, maybe struggling to pay the rent because rents are extremely high. I remember I traveled to Turkey last year. I went to Istanbul, Turkey. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the inflation year over year is about 50, maybe even 60%. Us Americans, we don't really know what it's like to suffer. We've had it too good for too long. We're spoiled brats. You look at the epidemic of people that are just obese. The obesity epidemic is insane. People out of shape. People sitting around on their couch. People not moving. Complaining about their back hurts, their shoulder hurts, their knee hurts. I know if I'm not moving around, if I'm not working out, that's when my body hurts. When I'm moving, when I'm working out, when I'm taking care of myself, when I'm building things on the rock, I know that my body is going to operate efficiently. I ran 4.5 miles today. I feel great. I can go out there now and run another 8. I can go out there right now and do 30 pull-ups in a row. No problem, like that. Because I trained myself. I built myself on the rock in that capacity. But what I'm talking about here, this is a subliminal message. Yes, they're talking about housing unaffordability. It's the most difficult market since 1984 because Jay Powell and his ilk raised interest rates at the fastest pace ever, and they've crushed everybody. And everybody thought that the house of cards was going to go on, but now they're facing trouble, and they didn't plan ahead. But what I'm talking about is You want to build your house. You want to build your treasures in heaven. Don't overwhelm yourself with things that you can't control. You can't control these people that can control all the apparatuses that affect you and I on a daily basis. Voting is not going to get us out of the situation. Your own decisions, your own spiritual decisions, your own relationship with the creator of the universe is what's going to get you out of the situation. By planning accordingly, having good friends, making good decisions, maybe moving to another country that's more affordable, and coming up with ideas for you to make money, whether you live there or somewhere else, it doesn't matter. Getting out of the place where you live that is involved with, we'll say, they're lacking spiritual sustenance. We'll just put it that way. They're not putting God first. They've turned their backs on God, and eventually anyone that turns their back on God will ultimately be destroyed. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with things that you can't control. Don't overwhelm yourself with worrying about getting the biggest and best house so you can have a $4,000 or $5,000 payment every month. What you want to focus on is you want to focus on building your relationship with God on a foundation of rock. And listening to the message and implementing it and putting it into practice so that you can build treasures in heaven, so that you can help yourself, your family, your friends, so you can be a shining light to other people, so that they can do amazing things, and most importantly, allow them to make it to the kingdom of heaven, which is the most important. This life, this flesh is nothing. We're here for a moment. Before you know it, you're going to be 70 if you make it that long. And then before you know it, you're gone. You're just a speck on a speck on a speck. And then when you're gone, nobody's going to remember you. And nobody's going to remember the people after you if that happens. God's in control. God knows the times. God sets up the times and places so that you have an opportunity to know him. Don't get caught up in the ephemeral aspect of life. Don't get caught up in the nonsense of humanity and these politicians and what they've done. You can't control that. All you can do is you can make the best decision for yourself, make the best decisions for your family, make and implement a strategy so that you have a firm foundation with the creator of the heavens, with the creator of the universe, on a firm foundation built on rock and not on sand. So when tough times come, when the rain comes down, when the hurricane comes and beats against your house and beats against that foundation, it's not going to fall with a great crash. It's going to withstand the pounding. It's going to take it. It's going to push back because what's in you is greater than that force that's coming at you. I hope you found the information helpful. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Links are down there below if you want to support the channel. I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out.